Hi everybody, JSGC here for another video. Tried to go live then, audio problem. Audio fine now? Did just put it on a test and it was fine. Let me know before I carry on. Good, all good? Right, seems like we're all good. Right, okay, we're all good. We're ready to go. Right, hello everybody, JSGC. What's going on, guys? JSGC here. We're here for another video. We're not going to be doing a transfer update today because I've not got enough to talk about. It's weekend. News is a little bit slower at weekends, and so come up with a video idea where I just wanted to talk about transfers. So I've called the series Let's Talk Transfers with JSGC, where we can just talk about whatever we want, talk about transfers, who we want to sign, who we want City to sell, and what we want to happen. Of course, with what happened yesterday, I think this is a very poignant time now to be speaking about who we think City should be signing, who we think City should be selling. So yeah, let me know. Hello everybody, thank you for tuning in. Raymond, Xander, Hard, Adam as well, thank you for tuning in, much appreciated. So let's, without further ado, crack on with this video. Let's get things on the road and let's speak about our first player that I want to speak about for this video, and it's going to come in the form of this man, Kalidou Koulibaly. So we know City are looking at top class centre backs this summer. The latest with Kalidou Koulibaly is City are prepared to go as high as €70 million. So we're looking at just over £60 million. Napoli are wanting around £70 million. So we're looking at around €80 million. They've even spoken about €90 million. It's Napoli's way of just wanting roughly around €80 million for Kalidou Koulibaly. Now, my thoughts on Kalidou Koulibaly is a very good centre-back. He's certainly a solid player. He's right-footed, so he would go in at the right-hand side of centre-back for Manchester City. I know that he plays on the left-hand side for Napoli, but he's right-footed and would suit City more on the right side rather than the left side, considering we've already got Aymeric Laporte and Nathan Ake that can play on that left-hand side, and so Koulibaly would come in on the right-hand side. The problem we've got with this transfer, quite simply, is the price and whether City will go into negotiations with Napoli and whether Manchester City will pay that much for Kalidou Koulibaly. Now, I'm just going to put this one out there. I think it's evident now more than ever that City need defenders. We need defenders to be helping us to reach our goal, and I feel like if what is said about the fee and City are really close to agreeing that fee, and we're talking £5 to £10 million, I agree there with Jamie. I think City are just going to have to pay that money and get the transfer done. I'm glad that people are speaking about other players in the chat. We can speak about Milan Skriniar. We can speak about Dayot Upamecano as well. Now, couple of things. First thing, we'll start with Skriniar because it's a little bit more straightforward. City's interest is very quiet with Skriniar, so we don't seem to be making a move for him at this moment in time. It seems it's either going to be Kalidou Koulibaly or we're going to turn our attentions to Diego Carlos of Sevilla instead. So Milan Skriniar doesn't really seem on the agenda. Now let's speak about Upamecano because I find it really interesting. What a performance he put in against Atletico Madrid, playing on that right-hand side of centre-back, dictated the game, put in a world-class performance. I think he's only 21 years old as well. Great sell-on value, apparently available for €50 million. Now, my thought is I'd go for it. I think he's a wonderful football player and I would love him at Manchester City. Problem is, I don't think he'll leave Leipzig this summer. He has just signed a contract, which doesn't really mean anything. It's just Leipzig's way of getting clubs to pay more money and get his release clause up. But I'm not aware that his release clause becomes active until next summer. So I would say that it's a transfer that is more likely for next summer rather than this summer due to that release clause. Leipzig can demand whatever they want this summer for Upamecano. That release clause comes into play as of next summer. So that's when Manchester City May make a move for Upamecano if we are looking at centre-backs, but in terms of this summer, I suppose City could ask Leipzig how much they'd like for him this summer and pay a little bit more. But yeah, I think City would make a move if they wanted to, and other clubs would make a move next summer once that release clause is active. Because at this moment in time, it's the exact same situation with Ismail Bennacer of AC Milan. The release clause is not active yet, which means AC Milan can demand whatever they want. They can put in, they can say 200 million if they want. Not viable, for Manchester City. And so it can be done for Leipzig and Upamecano. So Upamecano, why I'd love him at Manchester City, not too sure that it is realistic. Koulibaly, though, seems like it is realistic. Now I'd like to know people's thoughts, not only of Koulibaly, but also Diego Carlos as well. Chris Smalling. I think we can do a bit better than Chris Smalling, if I'm honest. The backup for Koulibaly, for Chris Smalling, a homegrown player, should John Stones leave and Eric Garcia leave? Okay. Personally, I don't see it. Chris Smalling's getting linked with other clubs. Was he getting linked with, was it Newcastle, I think? West Ham? Somewhere like that. I'm not sure. City Extra, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for leaving your comment there as well. Much appreciated, lads. Doing a fantastic job over at City Extra. If you haven't already, go and check out City Extra and some of the banging content they're putting out. Go and check them out. Go and like and subscribe over there. Thank you very much for your comments there. So, yeah, centre-backs. City certainly need a centre-back. I think yesterday just demonstrated more than ever that City definitely need a centre-back. More than ever. With Eric Garcia to leave, and Eric Garcia, what he said is he doesn't know what's going to be happening with his future. In my opinion, we're at a point now where, well, basically, Eric Garcia, if he wants to leave, just leave. We need players that want to be at Manchester City to improve Manchester City. And Eric Garcia, I'm not sure if he doesn't want to be here, just move him on as quickly as possible, get as good a price as we can from Barcelona, and then just move on and go out from there, is my opinion. So that's what I'm thinking about Kalidou Koulibaly and the centre-backs. I'd like to see City sign Koulibaly. If that can't be done, I reckon it'll be Diego Carlos. I reckon Otamendi will be leaving Manchester City this summer. I reckon we'll be lucky to get 10 million, it seems. I reckon he may end up back in Spain. Probably Valencia. Stones, I'm not so sure about. Eric Garcia, I think, may leave, which may mean that John Stones, because he's homegrown, staying at Manchester City. Certainly what he's put on Instagram makes it seem like he'll be staying at Manchester City. I'm not too sure that's the best for him, but there we go. Like to know your thoughts for that. Break the transfer structure. Bring in Jesse Lingard. So there we go. Right. I think that centre-back's pretty much covered, so we'll move on from Kalidou Koulibaly, and we'll instead speak about this man, Houssem Aouar. Firstly, how good was Houssem Aouar for Lyon yesterday? What I was watching with Houssem Aouar is he's everything that I would really like in the Manchester City midfield. He runs a lot, he's a good tackler of the ball, he's a good distributor of the ball, and he's really good at moving defence to attack, which means I think he'd be perfect for Manchester City. Apparently, he's available for €50 million. And just as Gotham and other people have been putting in the chat, for the first time, I'm going to agree. Gundogan out, Houssem Aouar in. I'm not going to get involved in the Ilkay Gundogan slander. I think Ilkay Gundogan is a good player, he's a limited player, and I like Ilkay Gundogan. I just don't think in the midfield and what City are looking for, he is the answer, and I don't think he is good enough. That's just my opinion. You're free to think what you think. I like Gundogan, I just don't think he's what we are looking for. But this man on my screen, Houssem Aouar, I think he is the answer that City are looking for. I think he's 21, 22 years old, the right age, available for a great price, €50 million. If I were City, we need to be ruthless in this transfer market. Yesterday's game showed that we need to be ruthless, and because of that, We need to get it done, in my opinion. Get that transfer sealed. I would love Aouar to be at Manchester City, and I'm facing the part here where Aouar could go to somebody else, and that would be a big blow. Because he's a wonderful football player. He's been linked with Juventus. That would be Juventus' gain. We need to have solid football players. And in our midfield needs fresh blood, new blood. Fernandinho's got 1 more year left on his contract. İlkay Gundogan, in my opinion, isn't the answer that City are looking for. So we're needing fresh, young players. And players like Houssem Aouar should be at Manchester City. Other than Aouar, all I can think of is Ismail Benet. So there's talk that City will not sort out their central midfield until next summer. I think it needs sorting this summer. We've got £300 million apparently, good to go. Houssem Aouar, I really want him at Manchester City. I've seen him 3 times play against City. All 3 times, he's been awesome. He's putting it out there. He's performed very well in Liga, earned consistently over the last couple of seasons. He's doing it on the biggest stage of them all in Europe and the Champions League. I'd love him. I really would love him at Manchester City. I think that'd be some great business there. If we could bring in Upamecano and Aouar, the young, fresh blood, the next leaders that Manchester City could be looking for. City do need to sell players. Central midfielders, David Silva, he'll be leaving Manchester City, so we're going to speak about David Silva right now, because I've got a little bit of an update on David Silva. So David Silva, got a little bit of an update on him, of course. We're not going to see him again in a competitive game for Manchester City, which hurts my heart. Hurts my heart a lot. We will get a testimonial for him, so we will see him in a City shirt once more, so we can all say our farewells. But competitive game, we're not going to see him again. David Silva will be leaving Manchester City. We've got Phil Foden to come in, and that's it. That position. We've got other players that can play in that position, but it's not their natural position. Bernardo Silva, Riyad Mahrez, I'm sure Sterling can slot in the top end of the midfield as well. Gundogan, De Bruyne as well. I feel like these players are more effective deeper, and the attackers that I just named are more effective doing what I've just said, attacking. And so, with David Silva leaving, it does open up a little bit of a gap for Manchester City to potentially bring in a central midfielder. Use Fernandinho as rotated backup options for centre-back and for central midfield, and bring in a fresh young central midfielder. A player like Aouar is really what I would like. Now with David Silva, the update on him, Lazio are getting very concerned that David Silva doesn't want to join him. I was reported on my last transfer update that David Silva, he had not emailed Lazio back. They wanted reassurance that he's going to commit to join them. They wanted his signature sent on email to give them his word that he will join them. He ignored that email. He never replied. Lazio said they didn't have a problem if he'd had something lined up elsewhere. Then enlighten them and tell them so they can move on. Or if you wanted to focus on Manchester City, just email them back to say, look, I'm focusing on Manchester City right now, but we'll sort this out once the Champions League is sorted. Lazio haven't really enjoyed what's been happening, and instead, Lazio have given an ultimatum to David Silva. They have said to David Silva, and this has just come today, that he's got until the end of today to email them back and sort through a move. Otherwise, they are going to pull out of that deal. So I may have an update on that for my transfer update for tomorrow. David Silva, if he doesn't go to Lazio, where is he going to end up? City have got a 1-year contract extension for David Silva on the table should he not find a club. So let me know in the chat and in the comments if you're watching after the live stream. David Silva, if he signs a contract extension at Manchester City, would you be happy or not? I think I'm going back to what I was just saying. I feel like we need fresh, young blood. And I would like Aouar at Manchester City. So let me know in the chat. So, seeing people saying some stuff, sell Gundogan, sell Zinchenko, I'm going to agree with that. I think Zinchenko's time at Manchester City is coming to an end. I really like Zinchenko. I think he's got a great personality. I think he's got a great attitude. I just feel like, and we need to be ruthless this summer, Zinchenko, he's taking up a spot at Manchester City. He isn't a homegrown player. He isn't under the age of 21. I feel like we could use his squad registration to either sign a central midfielder or a left back, which ultimately may mean that Zinchenko does leave Manchester City. I fail to see where he's going to fit in at Manchester City now, and I think he's a brilliant football player. I think he's a great lad. I just feel like for the best for his development, he's an attacking midfielder that plays left back for Manchester City as a rotated option, who's now behind Cancelo and also Benjamin Mendy. So I feel like his services would be required elsewhere, and I feel like it would be better for his development to go elsewhere and play in his more natural position, attacking midfield. He plays for that for the Ukraine and does a really good job. So I feel like City should probably try, for the sake of the career for Zinchenko, move him on. Interesting there, looking at the chats there. Braff, of course, is an option for Manchester City. He's young. I reckon we'll talk in another season or two before he starts to get in and around the City squad and starts getting some minutes and some substitute appearances and stuff. So not too sure that I see Braff in and around. He's very young. We don't really know what he's capable of. He's just been called up to the first team. That's all we know about him. Putting some good performances in the academy for City. So maybe a loan. Let me know. Other people are putting in some good suggestions there. So Alphonso Davies, I'd love him at City. He'd be a dream. Don't think he'll be leaving Bayern Munich. Nelson Semedo just had his career ended, in my opinion, at the hands of Bayern Munich. Ripped to shreds. Ripped to absolute shreds. Nelson Semedo, I really hope we don't sign him. He is not the answer that Manchester City are looking for. Messi, we're not going to be signing Lionel Messi. He's not going to leave Barcelona. I don't ever see him leaving Barcelona. Whilst it'd be a dream to see him at Manchester City, he isn't going to leave Barcelona. So that's what I think is going to happen with Lionel Messi. Any other players that people are putting out there? Alex Telles I'm going to speak about in a moment. Any other players that I've missed? Grimaldo. I've got concerns about his physicality. He's only small. Not too sure he'd suit the Premier League. Good distributor of the football, don't get me wrong. Premier League defenders feel like they either need to be one or two things. Either powerful or quick. Ideally, both. Which is why Koulibaly is getting linked. Because he is both. That's why we signed Ake. He's quick. That's why we brought him in. That's why we're replacing Otamendi with someone like Ake. So, yeah. Let me know. I just feel like I've got concerns there over physicality and height. I've already spoke about Upamecano at the start of the video. His release clause becomes active next summer, so I don't see him leaving Leipzig this summer. Might be something for next summer for City to consider if we're still looking at centre-backs, which, if we are, then something has gone wrong, in my opinion. Adama Traore, too expensive. Don't see City targeting him. Dybala, the same. A little bit too expensive. We're looking at around £80 to £90 million. Ricardo Pereira is a good choice at right back. We could maybe use Cancelo as a left back, not sign a left back, and use Pereira as a right back. Leicester, they don't need to sell. They don't really need the money. It'd be an expensive transfer for City to get done. Alaba, I've heard he's set to sign a new contract at Bayern Munich. So, yeah, I'd say that's pretty much a no-go as well. Bruno Fernandes definitely won't be leaving Manchester United. I don't rate Adama Traore either. I think he's a very limited player. Pace merchant is what some people like to use. Wenger manager of the season. That reminds me, actually, Kevin De Bruyne, he's just been named the Premier League player of the season. So a huge congratulations to him. Right. Alex Telles, let's speak about him. Let's speak about Ben Chilwell. Let's speak about Sandro of Juventus as well. Let's speak about left backs now. I think that's a good way for us to lean into. So let's have a look. Have a look at that. So left backs. One of the weaknesses for Manchester City, in my opinion. Benjamin Mendy, great personality. Not sure he's the answer that City are looking for at left back. And so, left backs could be an option that City could well consider this summer. Back to that being ruthless in the transfer market. If Zinchenko leaves and we move Cancelo back to right back all of a sudden, we may well be looking at a left back because we might be a bit short. Ake can of course play at left back. I'd like to see us go out there and sign quality competition for that left back position to make it their own. And Alex Telles, apparently available for around 30 to 40 million pounds at FC Porto, could well be an option for Manchester City. Now, people speaking about Ben Chilwell, he could be another option. Chelsea are looking at other left backs. He's too expensive. City have the cash. They've got the money there. If City want to spend big, spend lots of paper out there and go and bring in Ben Chilwell, then maybe they could. I reckon we're looking at 60 to 80 million pound. That's the homegrown price coming in. A homegrown English player, impressing, playing for England. They'll want a lot of money. And in my opinion, 60 to 80 million pounds doesn't fair reflect how much he is actually worth. You're paying for him to be homegrown, basically. So, in my opinion, unless Ben Chilwell's available for a good price, and I certainly won't go over like 40 million pound, then in my opinion, I wouldn't go for Ben Chilwell. But that's just my thought. Alex Telles, on the other hand, though, pretty solid player, certainly a lot cheaper than Ben Chilwell, and certainly an option. Now, people have been speaking about Sandro, and that's an interesting option as well. I'm not sure how much he's going to be available for from Juventus, but certainly proven on the top stage. A born winner, wins lots of things with Juventus, but let's be fair, you're playing for Juventus, you're probably going to expect it to win things. So it would be an option for Manchester City. In my opinion, Telles would be a player that I would go for. That's just my thoughts. In the chat, some left backs, let me know your thoughts. I'll give you my thoughts as well. So QWERTY would pay £50 million for Ben Chilwell. You're paying the Premier League premium, that homegrown premium. It astounds me. Lots of people weren't understanding when John Stones was getting linked with moves to Chelsea for £20 million. Some were saying to accept that offer. Well, he's a homegrown Premier League premium player. Also an England international. £20 million sounds a bit short. John Stones, I think he's 26 years old. And we're getting linked with Ben Chilwell because he's done all right at Leicester. All of a sudden, he's valued at £60+ million. And because John Stones has not had a great season with City, he's valued at 20. Meet me halfway. You see where I'm going with it? That's what I'd be looking for. So there we go. So, Tagliafico, people speaking about. Regulion. I've never seen these players play, so I can't really comment, if I'm honest. Is that true with what you've just said there about Alex Telles, Goofarm, with 10 assists, 9 goals? If so, that is decent. That is really decent for a left back. Yeah, Rodriguez has been linked to AC Milan, gone all quiet on that end. Ramos puts a couple of laughing faces out there. I've said before and I'll say it again. You want winners in your team, you want leaders in your team. You don't come much better than Sergio Ramos. I'd love him at Manchester City. He's one of them players that you love to hate. All the oppositions hate him, but if he plays for your club, you absolutely love him. He's got the arrogance there, a born winner, a leader on the pitch, a leader in the dressing room, and that's exactly what City are missing. I'd love someone like Sergio Ramos at City. We definitely won't be signing Sergio Ramos, but I would love him at Manchester City. Stones is injury prone. He is out of form. He's not doing too great, but he's a Premier League premium player. He's homegrown. That comes at a price. I mean, Lewis Dunk's set to sign for Chelsea for £40 million. Can you honestly sit there and say Dunk's a better player than John Stones? John Stones is a Premier League winner. He's got to that top level. We've seen Stones at the top level. 20 million, it's just so short. So short. Why are we so bad at selling players? We are really bad at selling players. I miss Vincent Kompany as well. So before we move on to the last player to have a look at, just wanted to say we've got 126 people currently tuning in. That's much appreciated. We're currently on 32. We're up to 33 likes. So if you're watching the video, leave a thumbs up so I know that you're enjoying the video. So I know that you want me to do more of these live streams and live interaction with you guys. So I know that you do like them. Obviously, if people aren't enjoying them and the feedback isn't too great, then probably my one and only episode. But if people are liking them, then obviously things like interaction, like thumbs up and comments and stuff, I know people are enjoying them, so I'll look to do some more. So yeah, just let me know. So like I said, easiest way, leaving a thumbs up so I know that you enjoyed this live stream and video. So let's move on to the last player to speak about. So we spoke about Telles, we spoke about David Silva, we spoke about Houssem Aouar, we spoke about Koulibaly, Diego Carlos, and the centre-back situation. Now let's speak about attackers. Leads us on to this man, Lautaro Martinez of Inter Milan. This is interesting. Now, City have been linked with two attackers. Martinez is one of them. The other is Joao Felix. Joao Felix, more than likely available for around the same price that Atletico paid for him, 120 million euro. That's expensive. But this man on the screen apparently available for less than that. Inter Milan want his release clause meeting. They want £98 million. We're in the pandemic market. That's a little bit too expensive. So my suggestion out there to you guys is that if Lautaro Martinez was to become available for a price that Man City were willing to pay, and Barcelona struggling for money, may not be able to match Manchester City financially right now, would you take Lautaro Martinez at Manchester City? If not, what attacker would you like Manchester City to sign? City are having a good look at attackers. They're wanting that number 9 position. Sergio Aguero's got 1 year left on his contract. We don't know if he's going to be signing an extension to keep him here for another year. Obviously picked up an injury towards the latter parts of this season. We've missed Aguero, and in my opinion, signing a striker would be good. Now, I'm really glad that Ryan has put that out there. Haaland would be an option. Definitely an option. But it's his agent. City won't go into negotiations with Raiola because he will want a huge agent fee. He'll want Haaland to be the highest paid player at Manchester City. Haaland is the answer. Manchester City will do really well in the Premier League, in the FA Cup, Carabao Cup and Champions League. You mark my words. If we was to sign Haaland from Borussia Dortmund. But once again, he's got a release clause that becomes active next summer. So it's more likely that Haaland will leave Dortmund next summer rather than this summer. But that doesn't mean Manchester City couldn't put some testers out there if we did want to sign Haaland. City has already got links. Obviously, his father played for Manchester City, so it shouldn't be too hard to convince him to sign for Manchester City. There's loads of pictures out there online of him in an old City kit. So, yeah, would be a doable transfer. The only problem is his agent. So City'd either have to bite the bullet and negotiate with Raiola or move on to another target instead. And that's where Martinez comes into it instead. I'm not too sure on how good he would be for Manchester City, but certainly maybe in the long term could be a Sergio Aguero replacement. I don't know. People putting in there Dybala, they'd like to see him at Manchester City instead. I like Dybala. Not too sure I'd see him leading Manchester City's line and being that out-and-out goal scorer that City are looking for, and that is what I feel City need. I know City are looking at number 9s. I feel like we need an out-and-out goal scorer, that long-term replacement for Sergio Aguero. So it's nice getting linked with the Dybalas, the Martinezes, and the Felixes. But in my opinion, out-and-out goal scorer, someone physical, someone quick, someone young, Haaland. I would break the bank to sign Haaland and bring him to Manchester City. I know what's going to happen. We're going to be cheap and we'll go for somebody else. But I'm just saying, we want to be ruthless. We want to get to the top. To get to the top, you need to bring in the young, best, hungry players from around the world. Haaland's right up there. Another one that people have been mentioning in the chat, also Jadon Sancho, bringing him back to Manchester City. And that would be fantastic. And certainly would suit Manchester City's style. There was a reason why City wanted to call him up to the first team squad. Obviously chose to leave. I reckon he will join Manchester United this summer. I know Dortmund have said that he's staying at Dortmund this summer. I think United will buckle. I think they'll pay around £100 million for him this summer. And I think Dortmund will accept that offer. I think that will come right towards the end of the window. That's what I think will happen. And of course, City will get 15% of that. So if it's 100 million, that's 15 million. That's 15 million towards signing another player. For example, that could be the agent fee paying to sign Haaland. Tell Haaland to get rid of Raiola once we've got him. Job done. So there we go. Yeah, there's my thoughts of Manchester City potentially signing some players and bringing some players in. We've got around 5 to 10 minutes spare here where I want people just in the chat. Let me know some players. I'm going to give you my thoughts on them. And we'll have a nice little bit of transfer interaction. Once more, if you're enjoying the video, leave a thumbs up so I know that you enjoyed the video. So, Morelos of Rangers, no thank you. Wow, that is an ego and a half. Tammy Abraham, decent striker, not sure he's what Manchester City are looking for. Memphis Depay, again, decent player, not sure it's what City are looking for. Gaia, never seen him play, so I can't really comment. Lionel Messi, would love him at Manchester City. Problem, don't think he'll ever leave Barcelona. Alphonso Davies, would love him at Manchester City. One of them players, like I was speaking with Haaland, I'd break the bank to bring him in. But it's not realistic that Bayern will sell him. Really like this one. Kane. Harry Kane. I feel like he could be prized away from Tottenham Hotspur. He's a little bit injury prone for the price that City would have to pay. He's certainly a goal scorer. I'm not sure he'd suit Manchester City's rotation. Pep likes to rotate players, so I'm not sure that Kane would be the answer. Icardi's a good shout. I'm not sure about Icardi. I think he's a good player. I'm not sure if I would like for Manchester City to sign him or not. I'm not sure. I'd have to think about that one. Haaland's release clause is apparently, just rumours, I think it's around 60 million euro is what I've heard. I say 60 million euro. Haaland will want to be one of the best paid players in the squad. Haaland will also come with a huge agent fee and signing on fee, so that deal will be well beyond 60 million euro. That 60 million euro would just go straight to Borussia Dortmund. I reckon you're probably looking at a deal that's worth somewhere between 100 to 150 million euro. Danny Ings had a good season. Certainly don't think he's the answer that Manchester City are looking for. Ronaldo, that would really cheese United fans off, and I think that would be great just to put up a welcome to Manchester billboard with Ronaldo on. Just bring him in just for that reason, because I think it'd just be fantastic to wind them up. That's my opinion. Ronaldo, I don't think he'd ever join Manchester City. Vardy, he seems very happy at Leicester, so I don't see Vardy leaving Leicester at any one point. Cavani on a free. He's not the answer. Tall and physical, and certainly an option to bring off the bench. Big, I reckon, wage would be requiring, and it's not really how City do their business. Yeah, basically, another Carlos Tevez. Aubameyang's a good shout. Aubameyang's a really good shout. Would you be happy with Aubameyang if we was to sign him and bring him to Manchester City? He is an out-and-out goal scorer. He's used to the Premier League. Pretty physical. I imagine he'd be certainly a taller option there for Manchester City to put him onto his head. He's a good shout there, Aubameyang, if he's to be available for the right price. Digne, I like that. It's a good shout, Digne. Potentially at left-back to bring into Manchester City. Perhaps. Maybe. Ibrahimovic, he's worked with Pep once. Hated working with Pep, so Ibrahimovic would certainly not be a go for Manchester City. Jayden Brough, I'd loan him out. I'd give him 2 years, send him to the Bundesliga, loan him out, see what happens. Give him 2 years to develop. I reckon in 2 seasons he'd be a wonderful winger. Maybe people might lynch me for this, but possibly sell him with a buyback clause. Give him 2 or 3 seasons to develop in the Bundesliga, and I'm certain he may well end up developing into a wonderful football player, and then we have the chance here to sign him back and make him a Manchester City player. You never know. Salah, he won't leave Liverpool. That won't happen. Moise Kean, definitely not. I've not heard that about Everton Suarez. I'll go and check it out. Manchester City once linked, once upon a time. Immobile of Lazio. It's an interesting one. Paulson of Leipzig. Again, another interesting one. I don't think these players are the answer. I think we've missed out, maybe, with Timo Werner. I mean, Chelsea's nabbed him for less than 50 mil. It's a good signing, that, for Chelsea. Chelsea have made some really, really good signings, in my opinion. So, Interesting. We've got 4 big weeks coming up here until the start of the Premier League season. City, in my opinion, we've signed Ferran Torres, we've signed Nathan Ake. I'd like to see us sign 3 more players in this 4 weeks before the start of the season. That top-class centre-back, I'd like to see that get sorted ASAP. Even if that means paying a little bit more for a player, then so be it. I think we just have to bite the bullet. I'd really like to see us go out there and sign a left-back and potentially a central midfielder, and then have a look out there, see what attackers are available, and then assess the situation again, possibly in the winter window or into January. Havertz, expensive. I think he'd be an ace signing for Chelsea if they can bring him in. They've signed a good player in Ziyech from Ajax. Pretty scary that they could have Ziyech there, Havertz there, and Timo Werner. We'll wait and see what happens. I don't see City signing any wide players though, so that's just my thoughts. So there's been the short live stream, 35 minutes long. Thank you everyone for tuning in. It is much appreciated. Leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new around here. Press that red button, press the bell, and put your push notifications on. You can find my social media links there in the description below and popping up on screen if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter and Instagram. Don't forget also, leave your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you all again for the next live stream, hopefully if everyone enjoys next week. If not, it's a 1-episode series, and I'll see everyone again for the daily Manchester City transfer updates, which will be up, of course, tomorrow. Tuning back in, all things transfers. The season's over for Manchester City. For football, we're just getting going, hopefully, in the transfer window, and it is a huge transfer window. Yesterday, reiterated that City do need to make them signings. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. It's much appreciated. I'll see everyone again tomorrow for the next daily Manchester City transfer update. I've been JSGC. I hope everyone is safe and well. Also got some merch, by the way, which you can check out. That's just below my channel if you want to go and check that out if you so wish. And I'll see you all again soon. So I've been JSGC. Happy Sunday. I've done this because it's pretty depressing what happened yesterday. So hopefully cheered everyone up with a new video idea. So I'll see you all again very soon. I've been JSGC. Peace. Ciao for now.